Okay, so here's the scoop on this painting. It's 11 by 14. It's an oil painting on a stretched canvas, what they call a gallery view canvas. Um, this is titled "Born of Silver Mist and Violet Shadows." What I will say about this video is that the values are up a little high, as it's slightly darker in values. There's a little more contrast, which in making a video, if you make videos, it's really hard sometimes to get the exact replication in the video. But so you work with what you've got. And what I found is trying to get the colors that I have to go into the filter and put on a warm filter um, to get the colors more in keeping with the painting. Otherwise they come out too cool, too blue. The colors I used in this painting, it's a simple palette really. I like a Rembrandt for this. I have to reach it. It's called Cobalt Violet by Rembrandt. I like this color. It's a good, has a good intensity. I used that. Mixed it with a little bit at times of the blue. Actually, it was a cerulean blue, a warm blue. And I also used Indian yellow. You can see it in the background and some of the landscaping. And this one happens to be by Winsor Newton, Indian yellow. Indian yellow's a little bit hard to come by, and the right hue, color, intensity seems to be different manufacturers make a little different Indian yellow. You have to kind of try them. And then also, this is a Georgian paint brand. It's a chrome yellow. And so those are 3 different brands right there. So I usually will just shop around till I find the color I'm looking for that would work best to my application. And so it doesn't mean you can get like a bunch of one brand and find exactly the color you want. You can mix a lot of colors, and I used to be of the school that you can have the 3 primary colors, white and black, and make any color you want. But I'll tell you what, you can't mix this color. There's no way you can put colors together and come up with the intensity and the richness of cobalt violet, or even like another color is a cadmium red light, which is the most beautiful, vibrant color that looks more like a very it's like a tangerine, but with a little bit more red hue. And you can't mix that color either. There's some colors you just can't mix to get the vibrancy. And because once you start mixing colors, the colors always gray down or dummy down a bit anytime you start mixing colors together. And if you've worked in paints at all, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that a primary red, blue, and green, black and white, will not give you some of these more amazing, brilliant colors. For one, you can't get like a vibrant rose color by mixing red and white, because it gets cooled down and it changes the color, changes the value. So I'm a firm believer in buying tubes of paint that you see in today's paintings, these vibrant, brilliant colors, and you can get them right out of the tube and play with them, mix them, and so anyway. This underpainting, which I don't have a picture of it here, was done actually in a burnt carmine, which is kind of a red-violet. The sketch was, and I can post a picture of that, but you can do a sketch in just about any color for an oil painting. I've done them in ultramarine blue, I've done them in brown, umbers, siennas, burnt siennas, but this one was done in burnt carmine, which is a red violet. So why did I paint this painting? I really love wolves, and I learned that appreciation and love of the wolf from my mother. She was a big supporter and sponsor of wolves, and if she could have had one, she would have. But the closest thing we had to wolves was German Shepherds, growing up with German Shepherds, and they're a highly intelligent animal. But let's get back to this painting. So this is a complementary color painting, meaning they're opposite each other in the color wheel. The violets are opposite the golds or the yellows, and it's called a complementary painting. We talk about temperature of a painting, and this one is neutral to warm. The golds in the background, the yellows, bring it into a warm phase accents, but the painting is neutral in temperature because violets are considered a neutral temperature. It's not warm or cool because generally violet is made by a cool color blue and a warm red. So it's considered neutral. This one is also considered a low-key painting, meaning the values are lower key. The lights are very selective. So anyway, the wolf has a very big ruff on him, the ruff being his up here, this big, and the ruff seems overstated, or it might seem overstated, but it is, he's got a breeze blowing across his back, which has lifted some of the hair on his ruff, but he's also alert. He's very alert, so he's made himself bigger anyway. And this painting was created with filbert, and that's this shape, and by a flat, the flats for the trees, and the edges on the boulder or the big rock down here. And it was, of course, fan brush used once again, right? And the fan brush was used in bringing in the fur. And it's built in layers, darks to halftones to lights. And the darks aren't showing up as dark, and the lights aren't showing up as light or as warm. If I could zoom in here, which I don't know if I can, I'll try to do it slow. If you look on the back of the wolf, you could see that his fur is reflecting the golden lights up in here. And there is, I'm going to come in slow, even in the lights here, it's not showing up as much, but there's the yellows in the lights, which make those lights warm, versus the shadow whites, which are picking up the blues, the violets, and the cooler tones. And so what I like about this painting is you can travel through, we see him, and we could see the forest floor, the forestry, but we know back in here that if our eye will travel through there, our mind will travel through there, and we know that there's sunlight, an open area full of sunlight past those trees. However, our wolf, standing on this rock, the light is also hitting him. The light is coming from this direction as he stands on this rock, and he's catching the light as he stands there. And I sure wish you could see the lights better. They are really popping up pretty good, but it doesn't show it in the video. My biggest frustration is getting things how they are in a video, but I get close. So, yeah, I like the wolf subject, and to me they're elusive, and they blend so well with their environment, which is why this one's titled Born of the Silver Mist and Violet Shadows. And the silvers back in here is very much the same as the silvers in his fur, the silvers in the rock. There's silver mist in the background on the forest floor, and I wanted to have where it all blends together. I wanted the wolf to be of his environment, because to me they are. They're elusive, they're mystical, and this one, I had a lot of fun with his intense gaze. I mean, he's looking at us, right? He's focused, he's on alert, he's really looking at us. And what's cool about if you get the tracking of the eyes right on any subject, human, animal, is you could see as you move away, it looks like his head turns. He still sees us. He's still tracking. And if we come this way, it looks like his head turns and he's tracking. Doesn't matter where you go in the room, which is such a cool phenomenon, that if you get the eyes tracking right, it does feel like that subject does follow you wherever you go. I kind of like that. Some people don't like that. And the eyes, this is a cat's tongue brush. It's shaped like a cat's tongue. Let's see if I can focus as I get closer. Not necessarily. It's trying. But it's a perfect brush for coming in and simply defining the eyes. You never want to overwork eyes. It's very simple. And they're the last things I do. I call it's like poaching an egg. You kind of have to build up to them, work up to them, create the structure around, and then the matter of putting the color in the eyes and the pupils. It's a very simple thing. You should spend very little time doing that. And the color of the eyes are the colors that are in his environment as well. So anyway, it seemed like I was going to tell you more about this painting, but now I think that's it. Bristle brushes all the way through except for the little sable cat's tongue. I don't do a lot of blending, if any, and I really highly recommend all kinds of different fan brushes if you're into doing critters of any kind or portraits and people with hair or beards. It's a perfect tool. And my blacks, once again, I don't use a black paint. I mix my own black with a red and a viridian and a dark blue. And I also use my cat's tongue for signature. And like some of these little shrubs, or scrubby shrubs. The flat brush works better for the trees or anything with an edge. It's easy. And the greens, there's some soft greens up there in the background, up in these areas. And those soft greens, even on him, right here, some greens are made with this violet with a touch of the yellow into it. Very little touch. If you overdo it, you get a mess. But everything is very subtle. So anyway, this is Born of Silver Mist and Violet Shadow.